Every few months, headlines announce the same thing. China's economy is collapsing, factories shutting down, investors fleeing. And yet somehow the collapse never comes. Because here's the thing, China doesn't play the same game as the West. It doesn't chase quarterly growth or election cycles or headlines. It plays the long game. When the US measures success in years, China measures it in decades, sometimes centuries. And that's the mistake everyone makes. We keep judging China by Western timelines. Short-term, emotional, reactive. But China thinks in time horizons that most nations can't even comprehend. This isn't a story about an economic miracle or a dictatorship. It's about a civilization that learned how to weaponize patience. So tonight, we're diving deep into how China is reshaping the world, not through war or collapse, but through time. This is how China is playing the long game, and what the West doesn't see. Chapter 1. The civilization that outlasted empires. For the West, history is a timeline. For China, it's a cycle. Empires in Europe rose, expanded, and vanished within centuries. China, meanwhile, has been collapsing and rebuilding under the same cultural banner for over 2,000 years. Every dynasty, Tang, Song, Ming, Qing, followed the same rhythm: growth, corruption, collapse, rebirth. But unlike Rome or Britain, China never disappeared. It absorbed invaders, redefined itself, and waited. It's the only ancient civilization that survived into modern statehood, not by conquest, but by adaptation. So when Western analysts call China's recent slowdown the beginning of the end, they're missing the point. For China, slowdowns aren't endings. They're breathing phases between empires. The mindset is simple. What breaks quickly never lasts. That's not just policy. It's philosophy, rooted in Confucian patience and Taoist balance. While Western systems optimize for speed, China optimizes for endurance. And endurance has quietly become its greatest weapon. Chapter 2. From Mao's ruins to Xi's blueprint. Modern China didn't rise by accident. It rose from chaos. When Mao Zedong took power in 1949, China was broken. Famine, war, and humiliation. The country's greatest export was labor and pain. But then came Deng Xiaoping, the man who changed everything. He opened the door, not fully, just enough. His message was simple. It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. That one line transformed China from ideology to pragmatism. While the Soviet Union doubled down on purity, China doubled down on results. Factories replaced communes. Capitalism entered through the back door, and the Communist Party, instead of fighting it, absorbed it. By the 2000s, China wasn't just exporting goods, it was exporting dependence. Every iPhone, every laptop, every made in China tag became a quiet string attached to the global economy. And that's the first layer of the long game, not domination, but entanglement. Chapter 3. The West's Mirror Problem. The West looks at China and sees contradiction. A communist state building billionaires, a closed society leading in global trade, a dictatorship innovating faster than democracies. But that confusion says more about the West than about China. The Western model thrives on visibility. Markets, transparency, quarterly reports, everything must be seen. China thrives on opacity, strategy hidden behind layers of bureaucracy and symbolism. That's why the West keeps misreading it. When America sees a slowdown, it sees weakness. When Europe sees capital outflow, it predicts crisis. China sees calibration, tightening screws before the next phase. In the West, politics is performance. In China, politics is engineering. The goal isn't to impress, it's to survive. And while Western systems struggle to pass basic reforms, China can redesign entire cities in a decade. Efficiency has a price. But so does chaos. And right now, China is betting that order, even imperfect, will outlast freedom, even idealized. That's the second layer of the long game. Patience disguised as paralysis. Chapter 4: Trade Traps and the Illusion of Dependence. China's greatest invention of the 21st century isn't technology, it's leverage. Through Belt and Road, it built not just infrastructure but influence. Ports in Africa, railways in Europe, and mines in Latin America, each one a thread in a global web. The West calls it debt trap diplomacy. China calls it business. But here's what's fascinating. China doesn't want to destroy its rivals. It wants them dependent. When the US bans Chinese chips, China shrugs and bans American rare earth metals. Every move looks reactive, but it's often pre-calculated. Think of it like Go, the ancient Chinese board game. You don't win by crushing the opponent. You win by surrounding them slowly until movement itself becomes impossible. That's how China plays trade. Subtle encirclement, not through ideology, but through necessity. The more the world relies on Chinese production, the less anyone can afford to confront it. That's the third layer of the long game. Control through cooperation. Chapter 5: The Weakness Inside the Strategy. But here's the paradox. Even the long game has limits. China's population is shrinking faster than its economy can adapt. Youth unemployment has hit record highs, and for all its talk of innovation, its system still fears the one thing it can't engineer: dissent. You can control factories, you can't control ambition. The same patience that built China could also slow it down. Too much control suffocates the very creativity it needs to lead the next era. And Xi Jinping knows this. That's why he's turning the focus inward, cutting off celebrity culture, tightening social media, reshaping education. The goal? To engineer not just products but citizens. It's a dangerous balance. Build too fast and you collapse like the West. Move too slow and your people start asking questions. That's the fourth layer of the long game. Control the pace of collapse. So what does the West not see? It sees a competitor. China sees a mirror. The West keeps reacting to moments. China keeps designing eras. But no civilization escapes time forever. The dynasties that survived also fell, not to enemies but to exhaustion. The danger isn't that China will replace the West. It's that both will sink into the same trap, mistaking longevity for destiny. Because every empire that mastered time eventually ran out of it. And maybe that's the real long game, not winning history, but surviving it a little longer than the rest. You take care and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.